Here's an exclusive India Today report from the forward base of Ukrainian military, which is now left in ruins as Russia intensifies its relentless assault in the region. Russian forces making advancements in the region, but Ukraine holding on to positions even in Donbas. Here's more.
I have with me the youngest MP of Ukraine, Sviatlana Yurash. And we are in Barynkova, which is close to the Donbas region. And this is where a lot of intense fighting has been happening. There are a lot of places which are under control of the Russians. The Ukrainians are also holding their positions. And as a result of that, there is a lot of fierce fighting here in this region. Mr. Yurash, can you tell us what the situation here is? You've been traveling along part of humanitarian aid. You're also in the army now. You are a parliamentarian, a former journalist. What exactly is the status of this region?
Well, the reality is that the fighting was happening in Kiev region, Kiev city, where I was, and after that point, when Battle of Kiev was won, the Russians changed strategy. They were trying to basically move against the forces in Donbass, trying to cut them off to at least present some victories along the way. But they basically had their forces completely pushed back, and Barynkova is just another story of Russians trying to push in and failing badly and clearly. And so the fighting continues in this area, in this lovely area, which never was imagining that this is going to happen to it. And we will continue pushing back the Russians. We have no other choice.
And even as we speak, we can hear a lot of bombardment in the background, a clear signal that the fighting is quite intense here. What is the Russian strategy? They want to come in, cut off supplies to the Donbas region, because contrary to what Russia has been claiming, there are still places in the Donbas region where Ukrainian forces are holding on to their position.
Very much so. Donbas basically is still quite Ukrainian, and the positions there are strong. They've been built up over the last 6 years of fighting, and 8 years of fighting. And the reality is that when you look at the situation the Russians are facing, they just basically want to conduct a strategic maneuver, having and showing no signs of progress. The reality is that Russians are trying to cut off the supply lines, but they are failing badly.
Where do you see this battle heading? Because we are into the third month now, and it doesn't seem so. I've traveled a bit as well. It doesn't seem so that there's going to be a ceasefire very soon. In such a scenario, where do you see this going?
Well, we see that Russia is not going to give up its pretensions to Ukraine, and we are going to push back at them with everything we have, because again, we're defending our nation. So but no matter what Russians throw at us, we will continue the battle. We have no other choice.
And is there a timeline? How many months could it take? Could it go into years? Could it be a permanent sort of a conflict zone that this could turn into?
Russians are clearly showing indications they're going to battle it out until they win. We are telling them very clearly that they will not. So in this situation, we face no other choice but to continue the battle.
You also have an Indian connection. You've studied in Calcutta.
Indeed.
As a parliamentarian, you told me that you're on the panel of Ukraine,
yes,
India.
I chair the Ukrainian Parliamentary Friendship Group.
Where do you see India's role? Because everybody knows that India has had traditional close relations with Russia. But where do you see, but India plays an important role, because India has also abstained even when it came to a to a Russian proposal at the UN.
The reality that India needs to face the reality of Russia is these days. And the connections you're mentioning are not connections with Russia, connections with the Soviet Union. Soviet Union is no more. And Russia, and modern Russian state, what it's doing to the world, not just to Ukraine, by no measure. You can look at the situation in Syria, Venezuela, Central Republic, and you can see what Russia is all about today. And that calls for the change of action, the change of strategy. The Indian friendship treaty with Russia doesn't have a leg to stand on now, when Russia is clearly showing that it's willing to conduct this terror and horror around my country, and India needs to examine this. As India is the leader, one of the leaders of the 21st century, and needs to face those moral choices everybody else does.
Well, as Russia continues to batter Ukraine and the war enters the third month, Russianization of Melitopol is underway. Red Soviet victory flag has been hoisted in many places. This exercise is being carried out in all captured territories because just having the Russian flag made Russians look like invaders. Here is a ground report.
We are back in Melitopol 2 weeks and we see a huge change at the Freedom Square here in Melitopol. You can see the communist flag going up where once the Ukrainian flag flew proudly. Below it you can see the ribbon of George, which represents military valor and is a symbol and sign for Russia and Russian military prowess. So that George, the St. George orange and black ribbon is visible. This very same place had Melitopol written in Russian and now all Ukrainian. So very clear message over here that this Melitopol city, while not a part of the Donbas region, is a part of the erstwhile Soviet. And so the people over here who are of Russian origin, many of them, are not only being asked to show their loyalty to the Russian flag, which flies right here on the atop the city center. Earlier it was the cultural center, the Taras Shevchenko Center. That's the Russian flag. But a message to the people of Melitopol that it's not just the Russian flag, but also the big red communist flag. That's going up to show that this place was a part of Russia and in all probability will be a part of Russia. With video journalist Satya Rautre in Melitopol, Geeta Mohan for India Today.
Rajesh Pawar is getting us more details from Kyiv. Rajesh, first of all, to talk about the situation in the capital city, do give us an idea about how things are at the moment right now in Kyiv where you are.
Look, Sneha, right now it's calm here. There was air raid signal here, air raid sirens 2 nights prior, two nights before. Yesterday and today it has been calm, no air raid sirens, nothing happening. Life is coming back to normal here. Normal traffic, people are moving out. Normal people are going back to their jobs as it was before the war. Sneha.
Also about Mariupol, there are concerns and Ukraine has started to evacuate citizens from the steel plant in Mariupol. The situation in this particular area remains fairly tense. Rajesh, give us an idea about Russia's relentless pursuit of Mariupol and how Ukraine really is standing out.
Look, Mariupol is very, very important to Russia as well as to Ukraine. It is the most important port on Sea of Azov. And this Azovstal steel plant, one of the biggest steel plants in Europe, there are about 2,000 people stuck there. Most of them are Ukrainian soldiers and Azov battalion militia. There are also reports that some civilians are stuck there and Russia agreed to provide some kind of humanitarian corridor for evacuation of these people. But it appears that most of these people who are coming out have chosen to stay back in Russia, maybe because of pressure from Russian authorities or on their own will. But it is very important for Ukraine as well, because the soldiers stuck in this steel plant are some of the best soldiers Ukrainian army has, and there are a lot of foreign fighters who are stuck there. And if Russia is able to capture these foreign fighters, it will be a big blow to Ukraine. Sneha.
Rajesh, I'm thanking you for the moment. We'll, of course, keep coming back to you for more developments on that important story. Now, staying with Ukraine, officials still manage the Zaporizhia nuclear plant. Russia's Rosatom representatives are demanding daily reports from the Zaporizhia nuclear plant management on confidential issues regarding the operation of this plant. India Today brings you this ground report.
This is the training center that came under the crossfire between Ukraine and Russian forces. The damage is quite visible, and this was the reason why there was a huge alarm about what the safety and security of the nuclear power plant is really going to be. Massive damage over there, if you can see the building, but it is far away outside the gate of the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant, which is right in front of that training center. But that first came under attack. The strategy in all probability was that if that is the extent of damage that can be done, imagine if something happens over here, what will be the fate of the people and the region. And that's why, in all probability, we saw a very quick withdrawal of the Ukrainian forces, with the Russians having taken control of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. With journalist Satya Rautre in Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, Geeta Mohan for India Today. I'm being joined by Mr. Andrei Shevchik, who is the head of the administration here in Energodar, appointed by Russia after Russia took control. My first question to you, sir, what's the extent of damage or around the plant, or has there been any damage inside the plant?
Какой уровень ущерба нанесли во время захвата, и есть ли что-то повреждено внутри станции?
Внутри нет. Единственное повреждение вы видели, когда проезжали, это учебные корпуса. А здесь даже, вот смотрите, ну вот если были какие-то, вот нету ни отбитой плитки. Самый главный показатель — это отбитые пули, дыры или что-то. Вот как мрамор стоял здесь 15 лет, так он и стоит. Внутри станции повреждений никаких нету, ни на блоках, нигде.
So inside the plant there is no damage. Only damage you've seen is at the entrance, where is the teaching building. Yes, that's all we have.
Okay. Are Rosatom officials here? And who is in control and managing and functioning, operating the reactors?
Присутствуют ли на территории станции представители Росатома и кто занимается управлением и контролем станции?
Контрольным управлением атомной станции являются официальные лица. Это генеральный директор, главный инженер, которые были поставлены прошлой властью. Они работают. И вся администрация работает властью, поставленной бывшей. Это украинские полностью работники.
The control of the station is performed by person who were set here by the Ukrainian authorities as before, so it's fully functioning. The Rosatom personnel is only performing technical support. He said that the international organizations are working as before, according to international protocols, and the threat to the station is there. Not long ago, Ukrainian forces sent kamikaze BP UAVs to the administration building of the city and to the plant itself, but the professional actions of Russian National Guard prevented it, and he believes that they will do it in future.
Okay. This is one of the most sensitive sites when it comes to the war between Russia and Ukraine. Russia is in control of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. But should there be a fight to reclaim this territory, this area, this sensitive area could pose severe threat not just to Ukraine but also to Russia. Therefore, the Russians now are completely have taken control of the power plant, but the machinations and the workings and the functioning is still under Ukrainian control. How they're going to really manage and balance this is something we'll have to wait and see. There are reports that Rosatom certainly will be sending its own officials to take over the plant. When that happens is something we'll have to wait and see. We came from the other side, and if Satya can show us, the entrance is where a training center was completely caught under fire and was destroyed. But apart from that destruction, all through the stretch that we entered, the main gate up till now, this is block 1 and block 2, we've not seen any destruction. We'll again have to wait and see what happens when we go inside, but right now the buildings over here do not show any signs of any destruction or any signs of fight, gun battle, shelling that could have taken place over here. So a very sensitive area being handled rather sensitively by both sides. There has been no crossfire, shelling or fight over here, and one only hopes that it remains this way, whether if Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant remains with Ukraine or goes to Russia. The fact that it is sensitive and it could pose great and grave danger is the most important point over here. With video journalist Satya Rautre at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, Geeta Mohan for India Today.